We are here to hear Ashley Walters, who is the owner and operator of Accelerate Advising. And she coaches businesses, startups, and established businesses to help them grow their business and stay aligned with their strategies. So we are here today to work through kind of looking back at 2025 and looking at how we're going to close out this year. Believe it or not, we're already looking at closing out the year in the fourth quarter to align with whatever our goals and strategies were for this year, and then look forward to 2026. So I would like to hand it over to Ashley. Oh, also, I wanted to let you all know, you've got a couple of things on the table here. One is our Learn at Launch speaker for next month. And then on the back side of that, there's a QR code. So if you've got any comments, questions, or ideas for content that you would like to see, please snap that QR code and let us know, what your ideas are. We're always looking for content to deliver to our members and to our guests. And then the last thing is Ashley's going to take us through some workshopping. And so as you share that, everybody's got a microphone on the table. They're turned off right now, but you'll see that there's a little button on the side. So if you are presenting, please be sure to turn that on. We're recording this for people to watch at a later time. And you'll also be getting a link via email afterward if you want to look back at this. So just remember, there's a button on the side of the microphone, turn that on, and then turn it off when you finish speaking. Thanks.
All right. Well, thank you, Ashley, so much for that introduction. As she said, I'm Ashley Walters. I'm really excited to be here with all of you today. I always like to start off with something a little bit funny. So, famous quote, life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. Ferris Bueller said it best, but I think about it as business owners and those that are working in these small to mid-sized businesses, this is it, right? This is many of our lives. A lot of people that I talk to, their hair is on fire all of the time. So my goal is for you guys to sit back, relax, get in tune to what we're doing here for the next about the next hour, and really get out in the weeds, and let's get on top of our business and really say, where can we go? And really strategically think about that and what that looks like for 2026 and beyond. So I like to think through, and I'm guessing one of these probably relates to who you are in this room. Working harder than ever, but the business feels heavier. This shows up as, we're growing really fast, but we keep making the same stupid mistakes. I hear a lot, Ashley, we've got too many priorities, but not enough accountability. So we're doing all the things, not just the important things or the most strategic things for our business. The business I was with Friday, we've got a lot of great people, but they're not so great at some of their jobs. And maybe, even though they're a culture fit, they're not in the right seat for this business. Some of my clients right now, I've heard, our growth is slowed or plateaued. The last few years, people could really do price increases for a while. Well, the price increase game is over, and the tariff game has been on. So how do we continue to market appropriately to our clients and price appropriately so we can continue to grow and still make our margins? And then exiting feels out of your team's reach or out of your reach. As an entrepreneur, I've got some businesses that actually call me and say, I need a succession plan. How do I make sure that I can leave this business better than I found it? Whether that's for someone that's in your business today or that truly is an exit for your business. So I hope that one of these resonates with you as we're thinking about this. So today what we're going to do is really go over what is EOS. How do we align your vision for this business How do we increase value? And ultimately, how are we going to drive traction? Just handful. Let me see a show of hands. Who's familiar with EOS? All right, so most of you are familiar with EOS. That's amazing. For those of you that aren't, and if you saw me and you said, what in the world is EOS? EOS stands for Entrepreneurial Operating System. And when you think about it, EOS is just a complete set of simple concepts and practical tools that allow you to get more of what you want from your business. What are the 3 things that EOS does really well? Vision, traction, healthy. Vision from the standpoint, everyone is aligned with where we're going and how we're going to get there. Traction, meaning we're actually executing on your vision. And healthy, meaning we have a healthy, functional, cohesive leadership team that likes to work together. We always say, as goes your leadership team, so goes the rest of your business. We want to make sure that everyone is 100% rowing in the same direction. We're getting true traction, meaning that each and every quarter, we are executing on that vision, and we have a healthy, functional, cohesive leadership team that can actually work together to get the job done. From a high level, EOS is based off the book Traction. Traction was written by our founder, Gino Wickman. Gino was an entrepreneur up in Detroit. At the age of 25, he got called in to run his family business. He quickly discovered there was nothing on the market that truly said, this is how I do this. There was no plan for really how do you succeed. So EOS began as a science experiment because he was part of an organization called EO Detroit, which is Entrepreneurs Organization. In that organization, he had 12 other business owners. He would try something in his business, and then he would try it in their business. And it became a true science experiment. It was what's going to work, what's not going to work. He cobbled that all together. Ultimately, he turned his business around, and 10 years later, he sold, and that became what we know as Traction today. He wrote the book Traction then and became EOS and the true operating system that we're here talking about. There's roughly 100,000 businesses that run on EOS today. So this is a tried and true operating system, not something that I've made up, but something that truly can get your business results. So for businesses, we like to think about this with the end in mind, and we start with your business in the middle. And your business, we really start and step back and say, what are the 6 key components we have to strengthen in order for you to have a truly great business? Number 1 is the vision, making sure that everyone knows where you're going and how you're going to get there. Our second component is our people component. Well, the right people for your business are not the same right people for the business sitting next to you. So how do we get really clear and concise of what does a right person look like for your business? From a data component, we want to make sure that we are actually running this business on facts and figures. Often in entrepreneurial organizations, they run a lot on gut feel. This is what I think. This is what got me here. But we're not making our decisions based off true data and a real scorecard, so we can actually say, is this working or is it not working? So we want to make sure that we get that tuned in and every business is truly running off data numbers that matter. When your vision, people, and data components are all clear, the issues in your business just rise to the top. So that means we've got to be a business that can set up the hardest issues each and every week, knock them out, and make sure we're moving through them to continue to get that traction in your business. From a process standpoint, process means that your business is scalable. We want to do things the right way the first time so you're most profitable. And ultimately, at the end of the day, if your processes are documented and followed by all, you're saleable, right? And we all know a lot of businesses, the owner is the business. We've got to really make sure that we've got our processes dialed in so that you have something to stand on. And then, of course, at the bottom of our model is traction. And traction is really just getting us living in that 90-day world, taking the 3 to 7 most important company priorities and 3 to 7 most important individual priorities each and every quarter and making sure that we're executing on them very well. So those are the 6 key components. And we believe that if we can strengthen these 6 key components in your business, you have a really strong business. We know most businesses are running at 20% and succeeding in spite of themselves. Our goal is to get you to 80% strong in each one of those key components. That's when we know we have a good, strong business that's really performing well. So now that we understand basics of EOS, let's talk about how do we really align your vision around that. And we're going to dive into that vision traction organizer sitting in front of you. So in that vision component, we talk about what are the 8 questions that we all have to answer about our business. And if you want to open that up, and if you want to fold it in half, open it and fold it in half there. The top part of that, that's our vision component. That's our vision side. The second side is going to be our traction side. So let's take a look at our vision side first. So for our vision side, we really need to understand what are our core values. Let me see a show of hands. Whose business has their core values lined out? Couple? All right. I really believe that your core values are actually in your business already today. We just need to discover them, make sure that we're defining them, and then make sure we're living and breathing them. I like to say we have the right core values in our business when we would take a financial hit if someone was not living that core value in our business. So think about that. Core values as well. I want you to be able to use your core values to not only attract talent, hire talent, promote, retain, and ultimately part with talent that does not align with those core values. So your core values, that's really the backbone of your business. I want to make sure that everyone is really clear on those. The next thing we're looking at is your core focus. And the core focus is really the what you do. Why does your business exist? And we call it the core focus because it comes from your gut. It really, truly comes from your core. And often that's a purpose, a cause, or a passion. And we help you figure out what is that really for you and what is your niche that you're serving. Then from there, we talk about what is your 10-year target? And 10-year target is really what do you want from your business? It can be 5 to 30 years out. People show up to see me. Some of them say, I want out in 2.5. I've got one I'm dealing with right now on that, working with. And another one that says, I want my grandkids to take this business over. You get to decide what's right for you and your business. And then we map those plans out to really reflect that. And really, it's nothing more than our number one goal, and being clear on what does that look like? What does success look like for all of you? Next comes our marketing strategy. Now, we talk about our target market or our list. And really, all that means is I want you to be really clear on who is your core customer. You all have limited sales and marketing resources. I want to make sure that you're making the best use of your time at all times with those resources. So we need to be crystal clear on who it is we're going after. I want you to understand and identify what are your 3 uniques. So if I put 10 of your competitors up here next to you, why pick you? What are the 3 things that really stand out and make your business different and better than your competitors? Also want to highlight proven process and guarantee. So proven process is what does that look like to work with you. So that's a picture view from start to finish of what it looks like to work with your business. That makes people feel very clear in what the journey looks like with you and helps them understand where they need to go and how to engage with you. The guarantee, I like to say about half my clients have a guarantee. That doesn't always make sense, but sometimes it does. Some of us are old enough to remember when Sears was around. Show of hands, remember Sears? And we had the jeans. My little brother always had those tough skin jeans. And tell you what, when he knocked out the knees of them, which he managed to do on a regular basis, my mom could take him back and Sears would give us a new pair, right? So that was their guarantee. And thinking through, does it make sense for your business to have a guarantee? Now we're moving over to our 3-year picture. And that 3-year picture, I really want you to stop and think about this. 3 years from now. So the end of 2028. Where do you want to be as a business? What's your revenue? What's your profit look like? And if you're not tracking profit, what's your gross margin? What's your measurable? And when I think about your measurable, that's really a non-fiscal number that you can use to track how well your business is doing. Whether that's number, if you're a manufacturing company, that's really easy. How many widgets did you make? How many widgets are you going to have to sell to hit that revenue number? If you're a SaaS business, sometimes that's an MRR. What's your monthly recurring revenue that we're tracking to make sure that we understand and we can hit those revenues numbers? Maybe it's number of new customers that you have coming in, and we use that as a combination to figure out what that needs to look like. Maybe it's as simple as number of clients for you. But what is that? And 3 years from now, at the end of 2028, if you're going to hit that, what does your business look like? How many people work in your business? How many locations do you have? How many offerings are you providing? Do you have a new truck? What about your facility? Does it look different? Maybe there's a new ERP or a new CRM that's on the horizon for you. Step back and think about that. What are all the things that need to happen in order to do that? So that's my first exercise for you. Close your eyes. Imagine it truly is December 31st of 2028. You just finished the best year ever in your business, and it happened exactly as you planned it. What are those numbers you're hitting? What are we celebrating? What's that really look like for you and your business? Customers, equipment, locations. Take a few quiet minutes and jot that down. And you can do that right there on that VTO and that 3-year picture. Everybody's got pens in front of them. So take a few minutes and write out, what do you think your 3-year picture is for your business? Who'd like to share? I'd love to hear a couple of your 3-year pictures. Don't be shy.
Well, I can share.
Yeah.
I mean, for us here, I'm the director of launch fishers and building property here. So for us, I mean, it's going to fall in line with many others. So, you know, I don't want to kick off with revenue growth, but I mean, I think revenue growth for us is important. But the backside of that would be membership growth. So for us, it would be the importance of doing events like this. So, you know, membership growth. What's important then in membership growth that would be companies that, you know, accelerate through here and move out and take permanent residents in the city of Fishers. That's a key indicator of success for us, important for what's happening here. Number of events that we do, myself, Ashley, and Rachel, we can see that number increase. And, you know, I just take the number here. If we can get to 24 a year, a couple of months, that would be awesome for us. I think we know, maybe sharing them private here a little bit, if we can pick up the number of partners or sponsors and put a number there, that would be awesome. If we're doing all those things, maybe add a person to our team, that would be great too. And then we're always looking for adding building amenities. We have a podcast studio. We need to look to do some things here in the building that are unique to our members or potential members. So I think those are relevant things for us in the 3-year picture that would kind of characterize success for us.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Who else would like to share? Go for it, Jeff.
So there's 2 components to what I do. One part is a product called My Penny Earned, Retirement and Financial Education. And that's provided by employers to groups, but it's also tapped into by individuals. And so that is something that I'd like to see grow by multiple employers in the next 3 years. And then see what's possible in terms of growing it with individual service.
Yeah.
So that's the financial education side or financial well-being. On the consulting side, where I consult largely with retirement plans, Part of what I do is research for them, and the other part is retirement plan management. In both those cases, I'd like to see that probably grow to about 10 to 15 clients who are regular users
Yeah.
of the service. And anything more than that, I got to start adding people.
There you go. That's awesome. Doesn't it feel good to say your 3-year picture out loud?
A little scary.
A little scary? It's supposed to be. But when we start putting pen to paper and we start really saying, you know, what do we want? Because really that 3-year picture is a want. Where do we want to be? And then we can start figuring out how do we plan to get there. So really think about it that way and use that to inspire you as you think through that. But thank you for sharing those. So 3 years from now, we know where we're going to be. So let's talk about where we are today and how do we really build some value and what does that look like? I want to start off with a definition from the Exit Planning Institute on what is a valuable business. And a valuable business is one that is operationally efficient and can run without the owner. It's transferable to a new owner at a maximum value. Anybody notice the key words in orange there? Without the owner. I think for so many of us in our worlds and so many small business owners, you are the business. So we want to make sure that we start thinking about that and how do we make sure that we have something transferable down the road as we continue to grow value. So I know I've got some data-driven people in this room. This is what the data tells us. 100% of us are going to exit our business one way or another, right? 50% of us are going to have involuntary transactions. So that means, unfortunately, sometimes we end up with business owners that die. Disability. I'm working with one of my business owners right now that had a car accident. That could have happened to any of us in this room. And trying to figure out how do we get somebody to help her transition that business. Divorce. Your spouse or your now ex-spouse would like something else and their name is on that business. Disagreement. Oh, we have partnerships. And it's not uncommon for the partners to want to retire at different times, to want to transition out of that business at different times. And sometimes we have distress. Unfortunately, a business is no longer cash flow positive, and we have to close the doors, and we've got to figure out what that exit looks like. But I can tell you 70% of businesses that go to market do not sell. And that's because that owner is that business. And really making sure, how do we do the right things that you are not that person at the end of the day? And that is not your business. And we're really helping you start to think through that. 53% of owners actually have no formal written exit plan. Well, I thought Johnny, my son, was going to take that over, or Susie, my daughter. Guess what? Johnny and Susie have no interest in taking over Dad's business. And having those conversations the right way now so you're not stuck later and we're not scrambling to figure out what that is so we understand what that looks like. So with your business, when somebody comes in and says, hey, let's look at the value of your business. The great news is the same things we need to do to grow value are the same things that you need to have a transferable business down the road. Whether you're ever going to transact that or not, it doesn't matter. These are the same things that you're going to do no matter what. So thinking through that, the 4 C's are what we call this. So the 4 C's are your human capital, your customer capital, your structural capital, and your social capital. And 80% of your business actually lies in these 4 C's of intangible capital. And so let's take a look at the EOS model and look how that overlays. So when we think about the model overall, and we look at our human capital, that's all about how do we get the right people in the right seats in our business. And so that means, at the end of the day, there are people still in your business with the skills and knowledge and leadership and bench strength to continue to be a long-standing business with or without you. When we think about the customer capital, that's us really stepping back and saying, On that VTO that you have in front of you, did we pick out who is our core customer? Do we have enough of those core customers identified that we're serving? Are we tracking those numbers on our scorecard? Do we have the revenue that supports that? And do we have the measurables that support how we are performing as a business? That's that customer capital that anybody that looks at your business is going to say, well, does this look like something I'm interested? Do I really have a valuable business here? Structural capital, that's really your systems and processes followed by all. So not only the process component, in EOS, we want you to document 20% of the 80% of the things, 20% of the 80% of the things you're doing all the time. We don't need every single thing documented, but what we need are what are those core things that you are spending your time on? Do we have a hiring process? Do we have a sales and marketing process identified, documented? Do we have our operational processes documented? Do we have a finance process documented? Do we have a customer service process documented? That's just kind of a handful as you're thinking about it. Every business has those core processes. Make sure that we've got them documented. Because when we have those documented, we have less issues in our business. We have less things that are rising to the top, right? And ultimately, we're getting more traction because we're able to get more done because we're doing things the right and best way the first time, and we're focusing every single quarter on what are those rocks we need to do to continue to close those value gaps and make sure we're moving the needle for our business consistently. Our last one is social capital, and that's how your business shows up to the world. That's your brand, culture, trust, how the team works together. So that overlays perfectly over the entire EOS model. So I wanted to bring your attention to that as we think about how do we grow value in our business. And I want to start with where are we today? So in front of you, you all have an EOS organizational checkup sheet. And really, this is just a simple tool to help us walk through and figure out where are you today. It's going to help you measure how strong you are in each one of those 6 key components of your business and help us reveal not only our strengths, but where are our gaps. So we're going to rate all of these on a scale from 1 to 5. If you can please grab a pen and that piece of paper in front of you that says organizational checkup. 5 is best. Scale of 1 to 5, 5 being best. Number 1, we have a clear vision in writing that has been properly communicated and is shared by everyone in the company. On a scale of 1 to 5, how strong is your business? Question 2, our core values are clear, and we're hiring, reviewing, rewarding, and firing around them. On a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being best. And we're going to use this in a few minutes, so please make sure you're filling it out. Number 3, our core focus, meaning our core business of what we do, is clear, and we keep our people, systems, and processes aligned and focused on it. Number 4, our 10-year target or our big long-range goal for this business is clear, communicated regularly, and is followed and shared by all. Number 5, our target market or definition of our ideal or core customer is clear, and all of our marketing and sales efforts are focused on it. Number 6, our 3 uniques or our differentiators are clear, and all of our marketing and sales efforts communicate them. 7, we have a proven process for doing business with our customers. It has been named and is visually illustrated, and all of our salespeople use it. Number 8, all of the people in our organization are the right people. They fit our culture and share our core values. Number 9, our accountability chart, which is really just a fancy org chart in EOS, includes our roles and responsibility. It is clear, it is complete, and it is constantly updated. Number 10, everyone is in the right seat. And that means we define right seat as they get their job, they want their job, and they have the capacity to do their job well. We call that the GWC. They get it, they want it, they have the capacity to do it. Number 11, our leadership team is open and honest and demonstrates a high level of trust. Everyone has rocks. Rocks are just a fancy word for priorities, and they all have 1 to 7 per quarter, and they are actually focused on them. Everyone is engaged in a regular meeting pulse, weekly, annually, quarterly. Number 14, all meetings are on the same day and the same time, have the same agenda, they start on time and they end on time. 15, all teams clearly identify, discuss, and solve issues for the long-term greater good of the business. 16, our core processes are documented, simplified, and followed by all to consistently produce the results we want. 17, we have systems for receiving regular feedback from customers and employees, so we always know their level of satisfaction. 18, we have scorecards for tracking weekly metrics, and measurables are in place. 19, everyone in the organization has at least one number that they are accountable for keeping on track every week. And finally, number 20, we have a budget and are monitoring it regularly. So whether that's monthly or quarterly, so we know where we are at all times. If everybody can please add up your score. All right. Everybody got their score pretty close to added? All right, so a couple things. Once we get our scores added up, at your tables, I want you to reflect and look at that. Which component, I've got the component wheel up here, is your biggest strength? What do you think? When you're looking at the 6 key components of your business, which one is your biggest strength after taking that quiz? And which component is costing you the most value today? Take a few minutes and discuss at your table, please. All right, so we've looked at this now. Everybody knows where their business lands. We've looked and said, where's our biggest strength? And where is our component that is costing us the most value, right? Everybody feel like they've got a good understanding of that? So let's talk about how do we drive some traction in your business. We all like traction, right? Favorite quote. Vision without traction is really just hallucination. And we're all old enough to have worked someplace where this was the case at this point in time. There's nothing more unnerving than being the employee and the CEO is saying one thing or the business owner is saying one thing, and you know that's not true. And you know that's not how you're out there serving your clients. So that's why we really have to make sure that this vision is going to line us all the way down to the ground so we've got some traction that we can really roll with and make a difference this quarter. So we looked at the first side of your VTO, and now I'm going to have you turn that over. We looked at our vision side already, and now I'm going to have you take a look at the traction side of it. And on the traction side of that, I want us to really think about, where do we need to be a year from now? We already lined out where we need to be 3 years from now, so at the end of 2028. So part of your homework is going to be, where do you need to be at the end of 2026? If we're going to be here in 3, where do we need to be in 1? Because we should be able to line up our trajectory, right? So in a year from now, one of your homeworks is, we're going to leave here and say, at the end of 2026, where do I need to be from a revenue standpoint? What's our profit or gross margin need to be? What are our measurables? And what are our 3 to 7 goals for the year? So those goals are kind of those big things we need to bite off this next year. So if I'm going to be the business I said I was going to be in 3 years, what are those 3 to 7 things that I can do this next year in 2026 to make that happen? Does that make sense to everybody? And then putting, again, of course, the revenue, profit, and measurables together with that. But with what we just looked at, I really want us to start thinking about rocks. And we still have a good, solid quarter left here in 2025. And I want us to really think about, how do we get ready for that? What do we need to do this last quarter? The last quarter of the year. Are you on track with where you're supposed to be right now? Or are you not? What's our revenue need to be next quarter? What's our profit or our gross margin need to be? How many engagements do you need to sell? How many insurance policies? How many widgets? How many customers do we need to serve? How many clients are coming in? Think about that. What's that really look like for you? And what are the 3 to 7 most important things we must get done as a business in order to be successful in Q4? The last column I want you to look at on that VTO in front of you on that traction page is the issues list. Because I know at this point in the game, you've got a lot of things that have come to your mind and you're like, wow, I need to do this, but I can't get that done in Q4. The issues list is what you use to keep those ideas. So I need to tackle this in maybe Q1 or Q2 of next year. So this is kind of that laundry list where you can keep things so you don't lose it on this Vision Traction Organizer. But I want to come back to the rocks. We all understand now, what's our value look like? Where are we struggling? Which area in those 6 key components can we really improve next quarter? So let's talk about what is a rock. A rock is just a fancy word for a priority. It needs to be focused. We all take 3 to 7 rocks every single quarter. So as a business or as a company, I like to declare there are company rocks and there are individual rocks. So as a company, we're taking 3 to 7. If you own one of the companies, that counts as your first individual rock. But we need to be really laser focused, really, on where we're going and how we're going to get there. What are those things that we have to get done as an organization to finish the year strong? I like to write rocks in SMART format, so specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. One of the ways to think about this really easily is, if I need to do X, I need to have it done by Y, and that's what this looks like. So think about that from a formatting perspective as you go to write a rock. So my question for you, what's the most important thing that you have to get done between now and the end of the year? Take a couple minutes and write out a rock. What's that rock that can really move the needle for you and help you end Q4 strong? Take a few minutes and write them up. All right, so let's do some shares. What's the number one thing you want to share that you've got to get done in this last quarter of the year? How are we going to end the year strong? Jason?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot for us in a lot of different ways, not to go into all the details, but we really need to refine and finalize our sales process, as well as kind of the marketing and kind of pitch materials that we have for specific clients that address sort of the multiple business areas that we focus on.
Perfect. You want to share?
Sure. I would say probably I just need to make more calls and just get in front of more people. So
How many calls are you going to make this quarter?
I don't know. It's hard to say on a quarter.
Well, let's think about it. How many calls are you going to make a week?
If I can make 5 to 10.
So if you made 10 calls a week, and you've got 13 weeks ahead of you for that quarter, 130 calls.
130. Yeah.
Yeah. Going to commit to 130 calls this quarter?
Sure.
Are you going to commit to 130 calls this quarter?
Yes. Yes.
All right. What about you guys over here? What do we have at this table? Don't you all speak at once?
Mine's in the same line as sales materials and presentation materials.
Okay, pick up this mic, Randall.
Mine is in the same nature of sales, it's presentation materials.
Okay? So tell me more about that. How are you making it smart? What are you going to do?
So I already have a loose outline of
Okay.
content.
Yep.
That has been sort of percolating in my mind over the last 2 quarters. So for the 4th quarter, then I will create a to-do list, and I would probably create a most important to least important list of materials and environments where I expect to present. So getting the most important done first in order to be in a place for the first quarter of next year to actually present.
So how many materials for those, after you have your list, how many finals are you going to have done? How many finished product of the materials that you're putting together are you going to have done?
I think 2 is fair.
Okay, so you will finish 2 by the end of the year?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Who else at this table wants to share?
So among the things that I need to do for my financial wellness product, My Penny Earned, I have a particular client that wants me to begin rolling this out to their retirees. So the goal is to add 100 retirees to the system. And I think that that also means I need to refresh content and add at least 3 lessons to the content.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Launch team, anything you want to add?
We're good. We got this figured out.
You got it all figured out, huh?
Everybody's reminding me to grab the microphone. I think Ashley would agree for us, as we're already talking about this. It is what are we doing for what we call community engagement, and the community is defined by members, non-members. So when we engage like we're doing now, that brings people into the building. So what are we going to do for events like this that cause people to come here, whether you're a member or a non-member? And if you're a non-member, how do we convert you to a member? So we think of that as community engagement for business owners. So that is top of mind. So that's kind of the pipeline, if you will, of opportunity for us. So that's always top of mind. And for us right now, as we look to close the year, and that starts thinking all topics of what's things like this or what's relevant in technology, and how do we become relevant to business owners.
How many new members do you want by the end of the year?
Great question. Thousands, but no, I mean,
What's your realistic number? Realistic.
for the end of this year,
Yeah.
if we could get ourselves, back to maybe a little over 500, I think we're just short of that right now. If we could add, things like this cause us, new members to come in and think, wow, there's really cool things happening here at launch. And that we see that they're doing them on a recurring, repeated basis. So we want to be a part of that. They meet people here. That I know what you're going to ask me is, well, how many can you get per month? And, each month you can do that and repeat it. If we can add another 25 to 30, so let's say 10 a month, 30, get us back to 525 and think, okay, if I've put down what I did and said, hey, if we could get to 600 by the end of next year, that would be awesome. So, we'll see. It's how we can align our partners and the things and the people that we know and activities that are happening and what's really happening in the entrepreneurial scene around Fishers and around Central Indiana.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. So we've talked about what do we need to do. We've created our rock. We've aligned that back with our vision. So how are you going to go execute the next 90 days? And I want to talk about what is your meeting pulse and how you're going to do that. So with EOS, we believe you live in a 90-day world. Conveniently, quarters are about 90 days apiece, right? So 90 days apiece or 13 weeks if you like to think in sprints. You're on a 13-week sprint or a 90-day world. And I want to make sure that each and every week you are attending a good weekly meeting. And that means it's on the same day, it's on the same time, with the same agenda, and you're going to start on time, and you're going to end on time. And when you do that, we call this the level 10 meeting. In EOS, we always score all of our meetings, and we rank them on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is I shouldn't have gotten out of bed to attend this meeting today, and 10 was this was the best use of my time. So those of you that have a leadership team, and you're thinking about those leadership team meetings you're sitting in, I want them to be a 10 every single week. Many times when people show up at my doorstep, the weekly meetings are where they're really struggling, right? Because that's where the accountability meets the road. If we're not talking about our rocks every week, how do we know if they're on track or off track? If you're not looking at your scorecard every week, how do you know if you're going to hit your goal or not, right? So each and every week, I want to walk you through what does a good level 10 meeting look like. And here's the top of our agenda. We start with good news. So the first 5 minutes is really you sharing something personally with the rest of your team. That's how you're building community and engagement, and you're getting to know one another. Trick is, this actually takes your mind from being in the business to on the business. That's a little bit of a psychological trick with that. Next, we spend the next 15 minutes in what we call the reporting section of our meeting. So, scorecard. I will ask Ashley, Ashley, is your scorecard number on track or off track? So, Ashley, we're going to have to drop that down and we're going to IDS it. So, we're not going to talk about what's wrong with it there. As soon as somebody says something's off track, we drop it down. If it's on track, we go on because we don't need to talk about things that are on track. Rocks, same thing. Is your rock on track or off track? If it's on track, we don't need to talk about it. If it's off track, we're going to drop it down and we're going to put it on our issues list to look at. Customer review, employee headlines. Think of this as your drive-by or your announcement section. These aren't things that need a deep conversation. This is, hey, so-and-so's on vacation. Or, did you know that we picked up 3 new clients this week? Awesome. Somebody left us a great Google review. Things that are just announcement type things, that's what goes in our customer and employee headlines. Next, we move down to your to-do list. These to-dos were taken from your last meeting. So a to-do in EOS is a 7-day action item. You better show up at this meeting with your to-dos to done. That's how you show you're accountable to everybody on your team, and that's how we're going to move the needle forward. From there, we're going to spend the next 60 of the 90 minutes IDSing, and that's really issue solving. IDS stands for identify, discuss, and solve. We're awesome at identifying issues. We often discuss the daylights out of them. Our problem is we don't move to solve. So we really give you the tools and framework for how do we solve that. Every issue that comes on your to-do list, even if I can't solve it in its entirety, what's my solve for this week? And that solve for the week becomes your to-do that you're going to show up with to done next week. That goes back to your 7-day action item. Every solve becomes a to-do. From there, we're going to conclude our meeting. That's the last 5 minutes of our meeting. And that's when we really talk about how did we do today? Are there any cascading messages? And we rank our time together on a scale of 1 to 10. Again, 1 being I shouldn't have gotten out of bed, and 10, this was the best use of my leadership team's time. Our goal is each and every week for you to be checking in with each other. This is really how we touch base and make sure we have the right accountability in our business. Because you can set quarterly rocks, you can set a 1-year plan, a 3-year picture, but if we're not talking about it all the time and staying on track of it, how are we really executing it? So take this format, take it back to your teams, and start using it this week. So that being said, curious, what's your biggest takeaway from today?
Yeah, we've been doing this for several years, and it's largely been good. There are places where we've been more successful than others. There are places where we've intentionally deviated from the true traction EOS path, and I think for the most part that still made sense. But there are places where we haven't completed things. We've talked about completing things, and it's really some of the proven processes. Not only the sales and the marketing piece, but even we're really good at delivering, largely because of the 2 people to my right. But making that more of a consistent process, so I have greater confidence that when we pull other people in off the bench and put them into clients, that they operate as well as these 2 operate. But so it's been a good refresher to kind of go back and think through, perhaps sort of a state of the union. Where are we at? What are we doing well? And frankly, where we need to get back to basics, if you will, around some of the principles here.
100%. Thank you for sharing that. Any other takeaways from today?
I just can't stop myself. It's really got me thinking about how I interact with clients and customers as well. Because some of them ask me to, provide management consultants. Some of them ask me to lead meetings. And I'm looking at this now saying, am I being a good example of what they could be doing in their organization when I interact with them? So it's got some challenges for me, and then certainly some challenges for how I run my own business.
Yeah.
So it's been very useful.
Good. All right. So this is EOS. You've gotten a high-level overview of this, and imagine if you could do this every single quarter with your team. And really, it's just getting really clear on our vision, making sure that you're getting accountability and you're getting true results through consistent traction. You've got a healthy, functional, cohesive team that really works well together, and you're building a more valuable business. With that being said, this is what that looks like. If anyone's interested in taking a deeper look at that org check and looking at where your business could be doing better, or what it looks like with those EOS tools, and you'd like some more information on how to walk through those, and what it looks like to work with an implementer, I'd be happy to do that. I have a handful of 90-minute meetings left between now and the end of the year. Other than that, thank you so much for coming today. I really enjoyed getting to speak with all of you, and go out and make it an awesome Q4 and get some traction. Thanks.